Truth Seekers, welcome back. I just made a very curious discovery that I want to share with you. This follows up with my Hoover Dam post. Before we get into that, I also want to admit that I was wrong. I thought the Kansas City Royals were going to win because this was the 110th World Series, and Kansas sums to 11. KC, the abbreviation forms 311, so I was seeing this relationship with 11s. I thought that was it, but I overlooked some very crucial information that I had in front of my face all this time, and that's why I made the wrong pick. And, it's just a reminder to me that it's okay to be wrong, because when you're wrong, you can learn from your mistakes and you can make it better. And because I was wrong, it made me go back and do my homework, and the discovery I found is much more important than the prediction I was wrong about. It also gives me the creeps, and it's going to give you guys the creeps too, but at the same time, it's more knowledge. It gives us a greater understanding of what's happening, and it allows us to prepare for what's really going to happen in our not too distant future, I imagine. So, earlier this year, San Francisco had its worst earthquake since the 1989 earthquake, in which the San Francisco Giants were playing the Oakland Athletics in the Bay Area series. I have a video post on that in the comments. Please watch that as well. I think that earthquake is proof that HARP, or whatever type of technology they have that can cause earthquakes, is real, and they use it. And based on the discovery I made tonight, I'm telling you the earthquake that happened in San Francisco was also part of it. So let's get to it. First of all, the gematria of World Series sums to 66. 66 is a very important number. In the Bible, there are 66 books, 39 Old Testament, 27 New Testament. In the United States, if you take the numerology of the first 13 colonies, sum them, it sums to 66. The first highway built across the United States is Route 66. If you write out Route 66 as a full word, turn it into numbers and sum it, it sums back to 66. And look at World Series again. 39 and 27, just like the books in the Old and New Testament, sums to 66. It was August 24th, 2014 that San Francisco suffered a 6.0 earthquake. From August 24th to October 29th is a span of 66 days. 66 days. And what's creepy, you guys, is in my research, I found that these types of very powerful coincidences, if you want to call them coincidences, date back to the 50s, the 1950s. You can recall a few years back there was that powerful tornado system in Dallas that was 55 years to the day of the last time something like that happened. There's all sorts of weather curiosities, from Hurricane Ivan and Katrina, from the perfect storm to Hurricane Sandy. These perfect patterns. And this is another one. 66 days from the earthquake to the Giants winning the World Series when they're the team that suffered through the 89 earthquake World Series. And that's not it for the conspiracy and the numerology today. Also, with 66 in San Francisco, the Church of Satan was established in San Francisco in the year 66. That's also the year the NFL was established. The NFL was established in 66. So earlier in the day, before the World Series occurred, it was reported that 53-year-old Paul Kitterman was found 110 miles from Denver. If you didn't follow that story, he was the missing fan. Supposedly a fan disappeared from a Thursday night football game. No one knew where he was. He was gone. The worst was feared. Well, he was found earlier in the day before the World Series, and it said he was 110 miles away from where he was found. This is the 110th World Series that was just completed between the Giants and San Francisco, right? Okay. So, in Gematria, this man's name, who's said to be 53 years old, Paul Kitterman, it sums to 53. The numerology of today's date is 10 plus 29 plus 14. It sums to 53. Look at all those 53s. You know what 53 had to do with today in baseball? It had a lot to do with the Giants and Bruce Bochy. In the last 5 years, the Giants have won 3 World Series, and the name Bochy sums to 53. Also curious about the Giants is Brian Sabean, the general manager, currently in the Major League Baseball. He is the longest tenured general manager since the year 96. He's got the 2633 gematria, two of the most important numbers. That year 96 is very important to the Freemasons. The foundational degrees of Scottish Rite Freemasonry are 31, 32, 33. If you sum those numbers together, it sums to 96. In gematria, the words knowledge equals 96, Satanism equals 96, New Ageism equals 96. Remember, the Church of Satan was established in 66 in San Francisco. So, regarding 96, I just did a post yesterday on the Hoover Dam and how it connects to this year's World Series. That is through the name Sherman Jones. The recently built bridge that bypasses Hoover Dam for Route 93 is given tribute to a man named Sherman Jones who fell to his death November 24th on the 86-year anniversary of the charter that essentially created the Hoover Dam. The name Sherman Jones also traces in history to a separate person who played for the San Francisco Giants, and then after that was the mayor of Kansas City. In his career, he's credited with pitching 110 innings. Remember, this is the 110th World Series with these two teams. And he's also credited with 53 strikeouts, that number I just showed you that pertained to today's story about the missing person, Paul Kitterman, and also the name Bruce Bochy. Bochy summed to 53. So here, I'll put up that math for you. What's also curious about the Hoover Dam is on the first number ever put on the building was the number 162 on the original dam post. 162 is the number of games in a Major League Baseball season. 162 games. So, also with the Hoover Dam, let's talk about the number 66. The first cement was laid on the Hoover Dam June 6th, 6/6, 1933. Remember, if you write out the word 33 and sum it, it sums to 66. You have both those numbers and the date that the cement was originally laid for the Hoover Dam. The Hoover Dam is named after Herbert Hoover. The gematria of the name Herbert Hoover is 96. Remember the sum degrees of Scottish Rite Freemasonry? The same year that the GM came to be for the Giants. Also, there's a plaque on the Hoover Dam that reads, "They died to help the desert bloom." I might have got some of those words wrong, but that's essentially what it says. And that plaque gives tribute to 96 people. The official government stat is that 96 people died during the creation of the Hoover Dam. There's another stat that says 112, but our government says it was 96. They like that number. In 1985, 29 years ago, the Hoover Dam joined. That's also the year the Royals last won the World Series and were in it. That same year, August 20th, 1985, the Hoover Dam was added to the National Historic Landmarks. That date has a numerology of 33. 8 plus 2 plus 0 plus 1 plus 9 plus 8 plus 5 sums to 33. With the other method, it sums to 113. And check this out. Here's another date pertaining to baseball that sums to 33 and 113 from 20 years ago. Do you guys remember the MLB lockout? I show this example just to show you guys how this numerology is coded so often in sports and world history. On August 11th, 1994, the players' strike started that ended the season. It's the only year the Commissioner's Trophy hasn't been given out since it started in 67. And that should be noted. That's the first year that's the first year the Super Bowl was played. 67. First year Commissioner's Trophy for MLB. First year for Super Bowl for NFL. So you see the relationship there between MLB and NFL. All right. So that date, 8 plus 1 plus 1 plus 1 plus 9 plus 9 plus 4 sums to 33 for August 11th, 1994. The other way is 8 plus 11 plus 94 sums to 113. Just like the date of the Hoover Dam became a National Historic Landmark. This coding, you guys, it's nonstop. And the message is this. Super Bowl 49, I am pretty sure is doomed, you guys. I am pretty sure it is doomed. We need to get the word out. The people need to be kept safe. I mean, just imagine it. Just imagine it. The warning was in Super Bowl 47. 2 years prior, that's the Super Bowl where John Harbaugh faced Jim Harbaugh. Jim Harbaugh was the coach of the San Francisco 49ers. John Harbaugh was the coach of the Baltimore Ravens. Super Bowl 47. In gematria, the name Jim sums to 32, and the name John sums to 47. It's the first Super Bowl that two brothers ever faced each other. John won. John, with the gematria of 47, won Super Bowl 47. It should also be noted that the name Harbaugh sums to 39. Remember this significant number? Only Arizona and New York sum to 39 in gematria. Both Arizona and New York have these 93 connections. Flight 93 on 9/11, 93 World Trade Center bombing. It's Route 93 that goes past the Hoover Dam. Flight 93 had 33 passengers. Anyhow, that Super Bowl 47, had a 33-minute blackout. Look that up. 33-minute blackout. Every source reports it that way. Some places even say 33 minutes, 33 seconds. I don't know who was really counting that exact, but most places say exactly 33 minutes. Super Bowl 47 in this gematria that I've been teaching since the first post. I've been telling you guys 33, 47, 74 so often paired together. So think about it. That, in my mind, now looks like a warning. At the time, I didn't know what it meant, but now, almost 2 years later, I see that was a warning. Imagine if the Hoover Dam erupted during Super Bowl 49, which is being hosted in Glendale, Arizona, where Route 93 once ended. The gematria of Glendale is 33. It's on the 33rd parallel north, so is Phoenix. Imagine if the Hoover Dam erupted during the Super Bowl. There would be a lot longer than a 33-minute power outage, and there would be a much, much bigger problem. Imagine Las Vegas. Imagine the whole region, you guys. Imagine the water supply. Imagine what it would do to the United States. The whole nation would have to help that area. They would have all sorts of problems. And that might be our very real fate in the very near future, just as September 11th, 2001 unexpectedly became our fate once upon a time. And what I've said since that day, because I've seen that was a lie since the day it happened, I've said so long as there is never justice for that day, we will always have to live under the fear of, the next attack they bring at us. And back then I was thinking that day might be 50 years off, but having seen what's been going on in this country since then and the velocity with which these stories and hoaxes are being waged upon us, I fear that it's sooner than any of us want it to come, and it very well might be Super Bowl 49. Why? Here's two good reasons. Revelation, the final book of the Bible, sums to 49, so this number has to do with the end times. Another good reason comes from a movie. And once upon a time, September 11th, 2001 was hinted at in movies, such as The Matrix, which came out just years before it happened, where Neo's passport expires September 11th, 2001. You can look that up. His passport in that movie expires September 11th, 2001. In the movie Oblivion, Tom Cruise stands in the middle of MetLife Stadium. That's where last year's Super Bowl was played. 2014, Seattle Seahawks defeated the Denver Broncos. Tom Cruise stands in the middle of that stadium and says, "This is the site of where the last Super Bowl was ever played." Maybe that was a real hint at what is going to happen to Super Bowl 49. The coding is there, the numerology is there, the patterns are there. This is what they've been doing for a very long time. If we can get this word out, if we can get more people, more eyes on this, more research, we can determine what they are going to do because they have already mapped out their plans and they are following a code. It has very much to do with the numerology. That's not the only ingredient in the recipe, though, but it's a big one, and that's what I'm showing you guys. So, hope you learned something new. Remember, don't be afraid, be strong, and help spread the truth. I need your guys' likes and shares. Can't urge that enough, you guys. Need that help. We should boycott Super Bowl 49. We should shut it down before they fulfill their plan against us. One last point, that 322, the missing man who I talked about, the fan who disappeared, his birthday was March 22nd. In the film The Dark Knight Rises, the number 322 is shown just before the stadium explodes. In Transformers, released in 2007, the number 322 is shown just before the Hoover Dam explodes. This coding, this mental preparation, it's been done to us. The imagery's out there, the details and the clues are out there. We just have to put them together, and I'm trying to show you guys how to do that. All right, until next time.